Lawyers tell me all the time, I am done with litigation, but not many know where to go from there. So if you're looking to make a switch from litigation to transactional practice, I'm going to share with you today some proven strategies for making that switch. Stay tuned till the end because I'm going to share one of my favorite free resources for litigators who are looking to switch practice areas. Welcome back. And if you're new to this channel, I'm Annie Little. I'm an ICF certified coach and former lawyer. I created this channel for lawyers who are looking for practical guidance on how to land, lead, and succeed in the legal profession and beyond. We are going to start by talking about networking. Oh, lawyers hate networking, but there's no need to hate it. There are so many ways to go about this and to network that you probably don't even think about as networking. So there are two types of networking. There's internal and there's external. So start with the internal networking inside your current organization, where you can go to the transactional practice group and you can offer to help them out. Now, this is easier in some organizations as opposed to others. Generally, in larger ones, it's actually tougher to do that because everyone tends to be more siloed off. But in smaller law firms, smaller legal departments, it's a whole lot easier to just kind of pop in, start building relationships, and then say, hey, I'd love to give you a hand with that. All right, time to talk about external networking. And what I mean by external is by getting to know transactional attorneys who work in law firms or in-house. As with all job transitions, having pre-existing relationships with people who work there can make a world of difference. So the easiest first step, connect or reconnect with the transactional lawyers you already know who work in law firms or who work in-house, and let them know that you are wanting to make a switch. Now, to be clear, you're not reaching out to them to look for a job, okay? You're reaching out to learn more about what it is that they do and to see if it's something you actually are interested in and to explore ways to get hands-on experience. You're going to be asking them, what do you think is a good way for me to get that kind of experience? Or who else do you think I should be talking to? And then you're going to want to do the same thing with transactional lawyers who you don't already know. Because if you're going to move into this new practice area, you need to be growing your relationship network of transactional lawyers. And by reaching out to lawyers you don't know, also be reaching out to lawyers in different practice areas within the transactional area so that you can get an idea of what other types of work there is to be had out there. So how are you supposed to reach out to people you don't know? LinkedIn. LinkedIn is such a fabulous resource. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a search. You're going to find somebody who looks like they're doing something similar to what you would want to do or that looks interesting. Connect with them, exchange some DMs with them, ask them if they're willing to set up like a 15-minute Zoom chat with you where you can ask them what their job is like because you're considering switching from litigation to transactional work. Of course, you can always attend events where transactional lawyers are hanging out so you can actually talk to them there and learn more about what it is that they do. And you can do this in person and you can also do it virtually. A great virtual option that I've come across is In-House Connect. They'll often have a presentation with a guest, and then afterward there's a Q&A and networking session right afterward for everyone who wants to participate. When you're ready to start applying for transactional jobs, you're going to need a good resume and cover letter. Yes, cover letters. Cover letters are particularly valuable when you're looking to switch practice areas. And this is because they give you an opportunity to make your case for why you're a good fit and to dispel any doubts or biases about why you wouldn't be a good fit. And what I found to be really effective is for you to acknowledge your litigation background and then go on to explain how it's an asset rather a liability. And in your resume, you are going to want to reframe your experience so that it doesn't scream litigator. Instead, you are going to want to highlight your skills and subject matter expertise. Because if you're applying for a transactional job and all you're talking about is your litigation experience, those transactional lawyers are unlikely to connect the dots between your experience and the value that you bring to this role. It's not that they couldn't make that connection, it's just that they don't have the time. They're really reading through these very quickly. And so that's your job to make that connection for them so that it becomes super obvious why you're a great fit. Now, I mentioned subject matter expertise in terms of what you should put on your resume. So what does subject matter expertise look like? So you're going to want to show them in which areas of law you are an expert. If you've handled a lot of cases in a particular industry, you can showcase what you know about that industry and that legal landscape. You can talk about commonly litigated contract provisions that you have dealt with extensively. You can also speak to your ability to identify ambiguous language that comes up a lot during litigation and how you're able to identify that and prevent it in the drafting. And of course, you can always take CLEs in contract drafting and other transactional topics, and you can mention that as well. And above all else, you really want to highlight your transferable skills. When I'm talking about connecting the dots between your experience and what they want someone to do in the job, it's all transferable skills. Some pretty common ones that litigators can bring to the transactional space include risk mitigation. So any experience you have with dispute resolution or dispute avoidance or negotiating settlements. Now, understanding that negotiating a settlement in litigation is different from negotiating contract terms. Nevertheless, when you're assessing risk and your negotiation strategy reflects that, that becomes relevant. Good judgment is another transferable skill that's valuable in pretty much every lawyer job. And you can demonstrate good judgment by talking about how you understand when it's time to settle and figuring out what it is that you can leverage in the negotiations. These are great transferable skills to have in pretty much any lawyer job. And because working in litigation can often resemble drinking from a fire hose, you should be able to pull from several examples and scenarios to show how you're able to stay organized, manage multiple projects, and meet deadlines while handling competing priorities. And compared to the extremely fast pace of litigation that you may experience, you're probably going to find that the busiest periods that transactional lawyers tend to experience around quarter ends are going to be more than manageable for you. And if you're still not convinced that your litigation skills are transferable to the transactional space, you've got to check out my free masterclass, 3 simple strategies for uncovering any lawyer's transferable skills. It's linked in the description below. After watching it, you are going to understand just how transferable your litigation skills are, and you're going to be able to confidently pursue your next transactional job.